Hi everybody, I'm Justin from Main Man Bassing. In this video, I'm going to do a 1-year review on the Mr. Heater Portable Buddy Portable Propane Tank. If you're new to the channel, I do product reviews, fishing adventures, and how-to videos that all revolve around bass fishing in the Northeast, even in the winter. So if you're into fishing, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. Hit that subscribe button. Also, at any point in the video, you'd like to own this tank right now, the Amazon links in the description box. You can click it and take it from there. The 1-year review. I initially last year I made an initial review of this tank after using it a couple times, and in that video I go over like almost every spec and feature of it. And at that point I had used it a couple times and I really liked it, so I wanted to recommend it. And I can tell you, a year later, I love this thing just as much, if not more. I highly recommend this thing. And I want you to keep in mind though, I'm talking, this is coming from the perspective of me ice fishing solo. So I'm in a smaller tent. Because the reason I mention this is someone wrote in and said, hey, how would this do in a 6-person tent? I don't know. I don't know how this would handle in a 6-person tent. I don't know if it would keep it warm or not. I've never really gone ice fishing with 6 people, so I don't know. I'm usually by myself or with one other person. And in those smaller tents that are even uninsulated, I can tell you that this thing does really well. So also about camping, I have no idea. I can't answer your questions. You're gonna have to check out somebody else's review who's familiar with camping, because it's not me. But as far as ice fishing goes, in the smaller tents, this thing is awesome. I love it. I'm not gonna go over every little spec, but I wanna talk about the main features. One is that it's super light, right? It says super light, but it's light. I'd say it's, with a propane tank in there, it's about 6 pounds. And it's got a pretty narrow profile. Fits right in your sled, doesn't take up much space. Doesn't take up much space in your car. It has it has an auto oxygen detection shutoff and an auto tip over shutoff. But I've never really had to worry about I've never knocked it over, right? But it could always happen, and it's this pretty nice safety feature to have, especially if you have animals or little kids running around. These propane tanks are easy to install. You just screw them in, and these will last on high for 2.4 hours and on low for 5.4 hours. So on those cold days, I burn through about 4 tanks. If I'm out there all day, about 4 tanks I burn through. So at $4 or $5 a tank, you're talking about $20. So it gets a little expensive, if you're doing it every Saturday or Sunday, every month, you're talking about $80 a month for fuel. There is an option to get an adapter and a hose to hook up a 20-pound propane tank, but I myself have never done that. But that option is there. I really like this gate. This gate is relatively easy to take off, and it comes off completely, right? And then you can reverse it, and the gate just sits on top like that. And you can I wrap food in tinfoil, like hot dogs, pizzas, sandwiches. I'll put it right in tinfoil. And cooked food though, I've never put raw food in there, raw meat, or I've never cooked steak in there. You probably could cook steak in there, but I've never done it. But it's really nice those really cold days where you can't feel your fingers and your feet, to get a nice warm meal in, sort of lift your spirits up. And then it's not, it's relatively easy to get back into place. Now I've seen, there's a guy on YouTube who he rigs it up and he fries eggs and bacon on it. I'm not going to go to that extent, but I guess the option exists if you wanted to do it. It's pretty easy to light. You have your prime and your low and your high. My tank's I think it's empty, but we'll see if it still lights. Okay, there, the prime's lit, the pilot. Throw it on low. It's on low, just lit. And then you throw it on high. That gate will probably get orange. I gotta stand back, I have contacts in. Well, whatever, I'm not gonna let it run on high because I have to touch it. But it's relatively easy to light, like it's not a big deal at all. It's very easy to use, I feel very safe with it. And the only complaint I have about this thing is that pilot, which sits right here. If that pilot gets wet, it takes a while to start. Like, so when you, especially like I found out, like transporting it from my truck to where I'm gonna set up my tent, if snow gets in there, it's not easy to light after that. That's the only complaint I have about this thing. So you have to keep it dry when you're transporting it and try not to let snow or water get on it while it's in the tent. But other than that, highly recommend this thing. It will not, you'll be, if you're solo or you're ice fishing with one other person in a smaller tent, this thing is great. In my tent, like, you know, it's uninsulated. It's like, it's a two-man tent, but I use it solo, and it's not insulated, and I don't really take a lot of time setting it up and packing down the edges to make sure that no air is getting through. So it's real drafty in my tent a lot of times. Despite that, this thing holds up, keeps you warm, keeps your spirits high when you're ice fishing out there all day in those 0-degree days. So I'd highly recommend it. And that's the review. 1 year, great. I love this thing. Like, it's the portable buddy, and it really is like your little buddy. I know it sounds so stupid, but I love this thing. Like, I can't imagine going ice fishing without it. So again, you know, I think it's a no-brainer. You just buy it. It does get, the fuel gets a little expensive, but I don't really think there are many other alternatives. So that's the review. Hope you like it. Hope it gave you good perspective, and I hope you catch real big bass soon, even if it's through the ice. Don't listen to anything the internet says. You can catch giant bass ice fishing in like 5 feet of water. Okay, so have a great winter.